Shatia, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Nice to see you again. Have a
Same
seat.
here.
How's everything going? How was your week?
It was okay. It was a little hectic.
Has work gotten any better?
This virus is horrible.
You want to tell me a little bit about it?
I mean, it's just it's a lot going on. A lot. They're giving us hero pay though.
Well, that's a plus, right? No?
Not really.
Oh.
I mean, it's appreciated, but it's a little sarcastic in my opinion.
Meaning
Like hero pay.
you don't look at it as a positive that maybe they see you as, being a hero for taking care of your patients?
$80.
Oh. Okay, so it's not, you don't feel like it's enough.
I mean, it's not even necessarily like the monetary value, but it's like you want to give me hero pay, but you're not treating me like that.
Right. Well, I know when we left off in the last one, we were talking about your struggles as a single parent. Did you want to talk more about that, or you want to talk more about work, or where would you like to go with this session?
I guess we can talk about the single parent thing.
Okay, so I know your boys are 13 and 8, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So how long have you been a single parent, would you say?
About 7-8 years.
7-8 years. Do you mind me asking where the father is or what happened?
He's in prison.
Okay. And I can tell that you don't really want to touch on that too much.
I mean, it doesn't bother me.
Do you know how long?
I believe like 17 and a half years.
Wow. So I'm pretty sure that's kind of affecting the boys, because you say 7-8 years, so that means maybe the youngest one might not remember too much, but the oldest one kind of does.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even though I've been a single parent, like he was semi-present up until about 4 or 5 years ago.
So he had a relationship with both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I know you said you're frustrated as far as being a single parent. So what kind of frustrations are you having?
It's hard. I didn't expect to have to do it by myself.
Okay. So I hear you saying that it's hard and you didn't expect to have to do it by yourself. So of course do you feel like that's a disappointment to your boys, or
I mean, I try not to let it be known. I mean, I know it's a little harder on my end, but honestly, I don't know any different.
Right. Okay. So what about, I know you told me before you had a lot of help with your family. Is his family here or present, or did he have family?
Yeah, his family lives in Charlotte, and they have an active relationship. Well, the grandmother does.
Okay. Like
they talk on the phone and stuff. She gets him every once in a while, but I don't really have any like monetary help other than my family.
Okay, so is it both monetary and emotional and mental support, or is it more monetary that you feel like is the?
I mean, I really never expected mental and emotional support from. Nah.
So, have you ever expressed to them that you needed help as far as money goes, like monetary help?
I mean, honestly, not really. I probably wasn't as direct with it as I could have been.
Do you feel like maybe that's a conversation you're willing to have, or?
I don't feel like it's going to go in the right direction either way.
Why?
Because I know them, and I've been dealing with them for years.
Okay. Well, can you explain a little bit more what you mean by knowing them and dealing with them? Do you feel like they won't be as welcoming to the conversation, or you feel like it's going to be a conflict, or?
It's just going to be an excuse as to why they can't help, and that'll be the end of it.
Okay. Well, did they ever help before? Like,
no.
Actually, when you guys were together, they didn't?
Not really. I mean, like, I think maybe 1 or 2 summers Jackie may have gotten the boys.
I'm sorry, who's Jackie?
That's their grandma on the father's side.
Okay. And you said, did she take it for the whole summer, or was it just kind of?
Well, actually, it was 1 summer, and maybe probably 3 weeks.
You said took them, but she's here, right?
Well, she lived in Florida at that time. She moved to Charlotte maybe 3-4 years into our relationship.
Okay. And she took him for a whole summer?
Like 3 weeks.
But that was when they were around what age? Were they pretty young?
They were little, probably like 3, 4.
Okay. Well, I understand that you know them and you feel like they won't be receptive, but have you ever tried to have somebody else speak to them besides you? Like maybe, that's their grandmother. Have you ever tried to get, your mom as another grandmother to try to sit down and talk and maybe kind of...
They don't quite see eye to eye, and they bumped heads previously. So, no.
So that's not an option.
Right.
Have you expressed to your family that you feel like, they're not doing their part, or...
Yeah, I mean, I vent to my family. I'm honest with my family.
What was their take on it?
I mean, it's messed up, but it's really nothing you can do about it because that's who they are, and just, do the best you can, and we got your back.
Right. So, I guess my question now is, I know that since you are a single parent and you don't have that father figure, how are you kind of balancing that, or how have you balanced that, being a single parent with 2 boys?
I mean, I have been in a relationship with somebody for the last 6 plus years. Mm-hmm.
Right, because you said he helps with the boys, right? You said he helps them do their schoolwork and things like that. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of helping with the balance.
Yeah, it's not that I don't have the support system. I have it, but I just feel like it's coming from somewhere. Like, I appreciate it, but that's not where it was supposed to come from initially.
Right. So you feel like it should have came from either the father or
so
the
it should be what I have added on to what they should already have, not what I'm giving in replacement.
Okay. But does them not being there make you feel any type of way? Like, are you...
I mean, I know they miss their dad.
Okay. Have you had the unfortunate conversation? Like, do they know kind of what's going on?
I mean, they do. They've always known from the beginning, but they weren't denial to begin with. But my oldest is kind of coming to terms with it. The baby's still kind of not grasping.
What do you mean coming to terms? Like, what does that look like with the oldest? I'm sorry, what's the oldest names? Zayshawn. Okay, so with Zayshawn, what does coming to terms kind of look like?
It's actually turning into resentment a little bit, I'm noticing. And I'm trying to steer it in the other direction, but his feelings are pretty strong.
Resentment, like how? What is...
Just anger. Like, it's his fault. He did it.
It's the father's fault.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I like to use names just so we can, really develop a relationship. What's the father's name?
Nuna.
Okay, so he has resentment towards Nuna.
Mm-hmm.
And he verbally expresses it?
Low key, subtly sometimes, but I noticed it. Or he'll just shrug off the conversation. Like,
do they have any type of communication with him?
Sometimes, like, he calls occasionally. But most of the time he's calling, and it's a collect call that I have to pay for, and Right.
You're already kind of doing it by yourself, so
exactly.
You don't necessarily feel like you should have to add that.
And sometimes I feel a little guilt about it, because it's not that I can't necessarily afford it, but, like, I feel some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm already the sole provider with the help that I have solicited. Me, my friends, my family.
Right.
And then you expect me to pay for your phone calls, like...
Right. So, I don't know, have you talked to him since he's been in jail?
A few times. Not really, though. Mm-hmm. Normally, I just give the phone to the boys.
So, but have you expressed how you feel about having to pay for phone calls to him?
No, I just let him know that I wasn't going to do it.
Okay. Well, do you feel like... I know he has 17 years, but do you feel like maybe that the boys might need a relationship with him, or
I mean, I have no problem. I have no problem at all with them having a relationship with them, but I just don't feel like it's my responsibility to support the relationship. Like, absolutely. If needed, that's one thing, but I shouldn't be the leader.
Have they ever expressed, knowing his situation, wanting to see him?
Well, I mean, that's like more of a conversation. Like, they really don't talk to me about it. They normally talk to their G mama about it, and then Jackie. Okay. And then come back and tell me things.
Okay.
And I mean, I listen, and with my baby, he really doesn't talk to me about it.
Do you think he's kind of suppressing it, or not
it's
really?
It's just kind of like it's like a hit or miss. Like, if the conversation comes up, he'll say something to it, and you change the subject.
Okay, so tell me the personalities of Zayshawn, and what's the youngest?
Zari.
Zari. You like these?
Mm-hmm.
So Zayshawn and Zari. So tell me the personalities of Zayshawn and Zari, because you're saying Zari doesn't really express it too much, and Zayshawn says things subtly. So,
and honestly, that's probably, in my opinion, the opposite reaction, because Zayshawn is real quiet and reserved and slightly sneaky. He's my child. Like when
you said you were sneaky, okay.
And Zari is outgoing and bright and rambunctious and active and just everywhere, all the time, all over the place.
So what I'm hearing you saying is you would have expected Zari to have more of an opinion, vocally and verbally, than Zayshawn.
Right.
Well, have you ever thought maybe it's because Zayshawn had more of a relationship, so that's why he's a little more vocal than Zari?
Maybe.
Even though, you would think it would be different because of their personalities, but Zayshawn might be a little more hurt.
Right.
Because he had more of a relationship, so, it's a little different.
I never thought about it like that, but now I think about it, yeah.
Just to give you something to think about. But, I know your boys are your world. But in order for you to make sure your boy's okay, you have to be okay, right? So, how do I put this? As far as Nuna being in jail and the family not really being there for you, and you raising 2 kids, not necessarily by yourself because you have help, but what are you doing to make sure you're okay and all of that?
I don't necessarily go out the way to do anything. Like, I don't feel like my well-being is, like, in danger. Like, it's just what I'm going to do. Well, my mom did it.
I don't necessarily... your mom did it? What do you mean?
My mom raised 2 girls by herself.
Okay, so your mom was a single parent.
She had child support, but still, by herself.
So, okay. When you say by yourself, so, if you don't mind me asking, what happened to your father?
My parents got divorced when I was probably like 6, 7. And they were both in the military, so my dad paid child support on time, but that's what he did. He paid child support on time. I know we stayed with him a couple summers here and there.
So you don't have that. Do you have a relationship with him now? Or
I do now.
What does that look like?
Because as an adult, I just like, whatever, it's done. I feel some type of way. I'll let you know how I feel about it, but like, I'm not going to hold a grudge anymore. I still want a relationship with you.
Okay. So you guys talk often, or
it's a little more often. It's kind of forced sometimes and not really comfortable, but I don't know, it's important to me. So
okay. So is he here?
No, he lives in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas? How did he end up in Las Vegas?
He retired from the military and he's married to somebody who works for the military but is a civilian, so she was stationed there and he followed her there or something like that.
Married to somebody who works for the military?
She's a civilian who works for the military. I don't get it.
Okay, so his wife? How long has he been married?
Long time.
Long time?
I was young.
Okay, so, what's her name?
Marsha.
Okay, so do you guys have any kind of relationship? I mean, because if you were younger, but I guess assuming he wasn't really there like that, but does she communicate with you? Do you guys talk?
We have a superficial relationship. Like, we don't talk outside of anything, but if she comes to an event of mine or if I go, well, actually, not even if I go, I haven't stayed with my dad since I was pregnant with my 13-year-old, so.
Oh, wow. So do your boys kind of have a relationship with him, or how does that look?
No.
No?
They've met him. My oldest son has met him twice. My baby has met him once. Might be more than that. Maybe like 2 times. He sends money for birthdays. Whenever I talk to him, he says to the boys, I said I love him, happy birthday, but that's it.
Okay. Well, that's a topic for a whole nother discussion. But as far as your father's absence in your life, and now your boys not having their father in their life, do you feel like that emotionally, how do you handle that? Does that bring back bad memories, or or do you ever look at it like that?
I don't know if I'm numb to it and I'm pushing it down or ignoring it, but like, it just is. It doesn't bother me.
As far as what, your dad or their dad?
I mean, their dad bothers me. It pisses me off.
Okay.
Because I was present in the situation. So I can understand why it bothered my mom, but it didn't bother me. So I hope that one day it doesn't bother my children either.
So, with your mom going through what she was going through, do you feel like, because I feel like, are you the kind of person that tries to make sure your sons don't see, any kind of hurt or any kind of negative emotions that you might have towards their father?
Yes, I do. I try. I do not talk negatively about him. I do not downplay him. I'm not very good at controlling my facial expression, so I can't,
That's something everybody struggles with, so I understand that.
Mine's worse. So I'm pretty sure my kids see it on my face, but I do not verbalize it.
Okay. So when you look at the outlook you look at from your perspective with their dad not being there, with him, potentially being in jail for 17 years, how do you see yourself trying to handle that and raise two boys?
The best way I can.
Okay. Can you elaborate a little bit?
I have no playbook. I have no, instructions. I just have to do the best that I can and try to raise little kings.
Does he have, I know your boy, what's your boyfriend's name? I'm sorry?
Anthony.
We
call him Ant though.
Ant, okay. So I'll call him Ant if that's okay with you.
That's fine.
Besides Ant, are there any other male figures? Like, I hear you mention your mom and your grandma and your dad, but he's not far. Are there any other male role models here?
Not really. My grandfather passed like 5+ years ago, and he was like the main male role model. Like, my oldest son still talks about him like he loves his papa. Loves his papa. And my uncle, when we have family gatherings, my uncle is there and present, but like he's not. It was my papa and his aunt. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so do the boys do they participate in extracurricular activities where they can maybe be around more positive male role models? Have you
with all of this stuff going on, not really. But we were trying, like with my oldest son, I was trying to figure out what it was he liked and wanted to do, and we're kind of stuck. Like, I'm trying to figure him out because he's Zayshawn, he's different, and I just can't figure him out. Like, I can't peg him or put him in a little group, so I'm just watching. Zari likes football.
Okay.
And he played his first season last year.
How'd that go?
He loved it. He really loved it.
Okay.
And it makes me want to find something.
You saying that's your extrovert.
Yeah.
So playing football, it could.
Yes.
I can see how that can.
And he's my rough and tough.
Together.
Like, if you see him right now, he probably has like 4 like open little wounds that done scabbed over. Like.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So Zayshawn, you said you've been watching him. Have you noticed anything that you feel like he might like?
I don't, and I can't get him, and it drives me crazy because he's like a boy version of me, and I can't read him.
But, okay, that's interesting. But is there anything, okay, so what does he like to do, like, during his day? Like,
he's really into cooking.
Okay, so a 13-year-old into cooking?
Mm-hmm.
What does he like to cook?
He just wants to help me in the kitchen with anything. He doesn't care.
Oh, that's sweet.
Like, anything.
Do you feel like he shows, like, excitement and really interest?
He always wants to help me. Like, if he knows I'm about to, he's like, well, Mommy, can I help you do this? And I can I help you do this? And sometimes I'd be tired and aggravated, and I'd want to be like, no, I got it. But I'd be like, come on, let's go.
Well, they have programs for, like, they call them junior cookers.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about? I mean, of course, not right now with everything going on, but maybe like.
Well, I know my mom and my grandma were looking into it because it was like a little conversation amongst me, my mom, my grandma, and my sister. Like, we were trying to figure out something that Zayshawn wanted to do because Zari was so excited, and I didn't want Zayshawn to get resentment towards that because he didn't have something else.
Right, kind of like an overshadow. With siblings, especially boys, it's always competition no matter what.
And Zari is so there. Right. And Zayshawn is so, like, reserved, so.
Well, maybe cooking will bring him kind of out of his reserved state. Not saying, if he's an introvert and that's who he is, he's always going to kind of be that laid-back kind of person. But when you find excitement in something you really like to do, it kind of brings out a different side of you.
Right, and that's why I'm trying to find it. I will not be that mother that forces my child to do something. I want him to do what he likes, so we got to figure it out.
That's so awesome. So you got a potential NFL player, and then you have a world-renowned chef.
Yes.
Is there anything likes to do specifically? Like, I know you say he helps you in the kitchen all the time.
He's really good with like computers and internet technology. Like,
oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
So, does he play a lot of video games, or what do you mean by technology?
Well, he tries to. I don't let him overdo it.